Yo, 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 welcome to Crate 808, and today we're honoured to have back on the pod a true legend of the rap game, an icon who maces mics and laces the bass with figures, who's been cleverly beginning in with cinnamons and went in with the homonyms. Yes, it's the guy who chills with his chest out chinchilla or relaxed on the sidelines, and you know you've salivated over his calibrated raps that validated his ghetto credibility. Man, you know who it is. It's the man with stars in his iris and with more bars than the Irish. It is the incomparable.
Woo! Look at this intro. Oh!
Bro, it's all you. It's all you, man. Welcome.
Taking it all in. I'm taking it all in. Woo!
Incomparable, man. Incomparable. Pharaoh, man. How are you, mate? How are you doing, man?
Peace, 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 man. I'm good, man. I feel great. New record's about to come out, and I'm happy about sharing it with the fans and the heads. Just that whole level, man. Just ready to put it out finally. I've been working on it so long with little tweakings here and perfection things there, but it's finally ready.
Man.
13.
You know what? Let's dive in because, well, actually, hold on. I don't know. You've been on. This is your hat trick. You're on for the third time, man. So
That's crazy.
I need to ask you the usual question, which is, Pharaoh, least hip hop thing you've done last 24 hours. Do you have anything that's the least hip hop thing?
Well, I got up this morning and I went to this place called Juice Pressery or some shit like that, and I got like a 2-day juice revitalizing cleanse. But shit like that, I don't know if it's not even hip hop anymore because
Yeah,
one of my favorite groups, Styles P, has a juice bar. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
I don't, I think health is very, very hip hop right now. So but yeah, but it was in Williamsburg, and it was in like that part of hipster part of town, and so I never feel very hip hop when I'm on that side. I got my cup of tea.
Oh, I love it.
This is not hip hop, but it's tea.
But it's an English podcast, and tea.
It's very English. Very English.
That's what we need.
Hold me down. Hold me down. I gotta love it.
Man, it's so good to see you, man. It's a good shot in the arm to know there's some new Pharoahe Monch music coming. So without further ado, man, 13. Break it down. What is 13? Let us know.
Yeah, the album is called A Magnificent Day for Exorcism. I think I called it that, and we agreed to that title because, like, it's a lot of things in society that needs to be exercised, and instead of the same kind of like social political viewpoint, it's about going to the core of it and the history of this whole thing and trying to get at that and exercise it. It's not about some lone white girl whose head spins or whatever in that sense. It's kind of even like almost global. Let's discuss the atrocities and the perils that are holding us back from evolving as a society. And at the core of it, it kind of does go back to some mystical, magical shit of why I feel like we're stuck and we're kind of devolving. So the album is it's not that far from what I usually do in terms of I've always had rock flavor in my music. That's kind of my roots as well. Just anything hard and aggressive. But this time, I didn't want to make it seem like a Pharoahe Monch album per se. So I wanted to incorporate musicians that are not like some background shit, allow them to play a part in the building of this record like a band would do. So after like kind of conceptualizing some of the things, I realized I couldn't take it to that next level without Marcus Machado on guitar and Daru Jones on drums. In terms of like, it needed to be this flair there and aggressiveness there. And they're assassins. Like, I didn't want people to think in terms of like groups in the past who've tried to do this type of kind of like mash mashup. So I wanted to pay attention to especially the hip hop temperament, make sure it doesn't lose and it gets loose. So it stays grimy and kind of like hardcore with all the elements of hip hop that I like. So Lee Stone is one of the executive producers from Internal Affairs, Simon Says, and that fame, along with Super Ugly, Marco Polo, Knots, um, and a couple of other people I'm employed or brought in to say to make sure things keep that certain feel along with the live shit. Some of the shit is just straight live, which is some of the craziest shit, and some of the shit incorporates the minds of those kind of producers, kind of like a band would bring in a producer to produce a record back in the days, as well as myself on a couple of joints as well. So that's what I'm most proud about. Um, I think it takes you there without losing the hip hop sensibility. Yeah.
Mm. Man, absolutely. I've heard just a few tracks off of it, and I can completely see that, man. Absolutely. It feels like a new thing. There's definitely the recipe is there of yourself. You're talking there about knots, you're talking about like Polo and other people who've come on board to help. Was it hard to kind of like figure who to approach because of the metal and the rock element, which is kind of instrumental in your work, I would say. You've used it
Hmm.
numerous times throughout. Anyone who's a
Hmm.
Pharaoh fan will know you've used it. Even on 1991's record, even on there, there's some
Right, right,
rock on there. Was
right.
it hard, like, to find who would work well in that sound with you, like Knots and people like that?
Well, let me jump forward and say I think I've remedied the time it takes me to make a record, but once again, it took a while because from the concept to like finding the right stuff, like you listen to the Knots catalog and it's like I could fucking damn near rhyme over everything he does. He's like that good.
Mm,
But it took me some time to like just from what I was hearing to kind of like pick things out that would work with the project in terms of and then send him what we did and then get back and then uh play shit over and that kind of thing and work it out till it was incredible. Same thing with E Jones. Shout out to E Jones on the fight record. The band flew into North Carolina to sit with them and just like, vibe and tell them what we were looking for, the whole crew out there. And so I thought a couple of things fit with the construct of the overall project, which is it may not be something that people get anymore with albums, but I wanted to stay in that tradition. And that takes a little bit of time because like you're pulling from different sources. I think moving forward, not to get ahead of myself, I think I kind of got it figured out. So, you'll be getting a new 13 record in less than 6 years time.
that's good to
but
know.
but yeah, but staying here on Magnificent Day, yeah, it's just some real brilliant moments. It's some straightforward like head bopping, fucking forehead bashing moments, and then it's a lot of bars. And it's very bar heavy and melody heavy. So I think it's a good blend. These is like kind of like the most bar heavy record since Internal Affairs in terms of like this spit. I always pay attention to melody and chorus,
Mhm.
but some of these records like just go beyond the like 64 bar type shit.
Oh man, right, man, that's it. I'm hype. I'm hype. I like the idea of where you've gone with it. I think, like you said, with melody. One thing that really struck me, and I've talked to you over 2020 and how crazy it was and stuff like that. And well, 2020 was just as crazy. To be fair, I'm starting with the
Mm.
first week of January. Um, the title, "A Magnificent Day for an Exorcism." Um, what is the thinking behind that title, as a group?
Once again, I was looking at it like just in the moments, feeling like spiritually and this is years ago. This is not even dealing with what the country is dealing with now. I probably conceptualized this 10 years ago, started on the project like 4 or 5 years ago, like the first songs. And I don't mean obviously consistently. We were touring, I was touring, they're sought after and got their own projects in their own right. They're everywhere. The Marcus Machado got a project out right now, and he tours with the best of musicians. Daru Jones works with Jack White and that whole thing. So just before this whole movement, all the musicians and MCs were out touring and gigging. So I kind of have to do that. I was doing that to budget things and get this project sort of going. So I say that to say, even back then, I could kind of feel the trajectory that the energy was on in terms of vibration, low vibration and high vibration, and where people were at. So I was like, you know what, if we're really going to address the atrocities that will continue to happen and that are happening, and as a reflection of who America and what America is as a country, the truth about what needs to happen is an extraction, a change, an exorcism, kind of like, pull the evil out, deal with the evil, so to speak, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, uh, got to talk about it and you got to deal with it. And another thing that I was feeling in the moment was frustrated, which is why this is the perfect project. It's a lot of aggression. And I just felt like on a Pharaoh mystical ball level, it's like, fuck it, man. Like, I'm kind of tired of asking. So the aggression comes with, these are the angels of good coming to do some dirty work down here in this fuckery that we're dealing with right now.
Man, it is. It's been a pleasure to talk to you since the summer in 2020, because although there was anger, there was also, I felt in our chat especially, there was an
Mm-hmm.
element of hope. Like something is happening, something is changing. There may be a light at the end of the tunnel. For
Mm-hmm.
stuff you have been spitting about from day one, like all
Mm-hmm.
of your records have. In fact, it's almost ridiculous because sometimes I'm like, is Pharaoh an oracle of some sorts? Because so honestly, it's sad to say, but like when you hear Desire, when you hear all the other stuff, you have
Mm-hmm.
elements of this. When I looked at the title and then I thought about our chat, and then I heard that fury from yourself. Um, when I see someone say exorcism, and I looked it up as well just to make sure I wasn't right, like, it's a complete removal of something unpleasant, right, from one's mind and memory in a week where we've seen stuff happen in Washington, which is historic. We've seen Donald Trump on the verge of like collapse. Really, do you think there is hope for a true exorcism of America's kind, or not just America's, but humanity's
Right.
atrocities? Do you think that's possible?
Well, here's the thing: the pandemic, COVID, global, the atrocities that happened the other day at the Capitol, what's being put on Front Street in a magnifying glass and spotlight is this energy that is forcing us to at least take a look at ourselves. And again, the album is not just about government. It's a personal thing. It's like, what do I need to exercise? How do I grow? It is not natural and organic universally for us to stay stagnant. We're supposed to evolve. Things grow. You're supposed to gain more love, more intelligence, more hopefulness. And it just doesn't feel natural in this moment. If you close your eyes and you really focus and you listen, the proper energy isn't there. We can have things that take us away from that. I love sports. I love my figurines. I love so many things that could distract. But when you really take a look and examine ourselves, um, I don't think it doesn't feel like where we should be where we are as a people, as humans globally. I thought as a child, even as a child, when you're talking 2020, 2021, that we would be like literally hovering on motorcrafts and a more philosophical society right now. And this shit is archaic. It's just simply archaic that we can't even, I know there's this, people have their narratives and nuance, but just on a common thread, it's hard to keep someone focused. You literally have to be an expert at being eloquent and putting things in context to not get hit with a barrage of different narratives. So, when I speak about these things and it's just impossible on socials, you have to make sure you're putting things in context. Even with the virus, um, over and over again, you have to bombard people with the mask is to protect, um, um, you know, them from you. The viruses transmitted through droplets. Even if there was no pandemic, like, would you want to sneeze on someone on the tube? Like, would you literally be like, just cough on someone's face? We've always covered our mouths. But because things could get politicized, it starts to take on a different fervor. And I think all of our governments are not doing a just good enough job at being empathetic about having to explain over and over again because the narrative starts to shift, and this is why I think we're kind of feeling this moment. To go back to your question, that's kind of like forcing us to focus on these things that we didn't have to focus on before.
Mm, absolutely, man.
So I may have went off and I pride myself on hitting the mark on the question. To answer your question, you know, I do think there's hope for those who are open to elevate to a higher level of understanding and higher level of spirituality and vibration. For those in the darkness, and this is written throughout the history of time, I don't I don't I don't know if there's hope for them to be brought to a light. I think it's going to be easier for them to stay in their ignorance.
Mm. Easier is exactly the word. It's the
Yeah.
word of convenience. I think people
Mhm.
sometimes kind of relegate themselves to. But as you said, it's such a big matter. I'm just going to dive into obviously the record and the stuff that you've brought out already, but also like fight. I want to talk about that. You touched on it a little bit. Just the lyrics on there, man. Like you said, talk about bar heavy, but I don't want to butcher the verses. But there's verses on that track that are just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Could on Fight, first few things, it sounds like you've used Hitler in the intro or some sort of screaming like
Yeah.
European of some sort. So what was the case? What was the thinking behind something like that, which stuck out to me? And then obviously you want to talk about Cypress Hill getting involved as well.
The intro's Mussolini
Right.
and fucking jackass fascists talk that he's spewing. I wanted to start the record off with the antithesis of what the record was about, but knowing that someone of that magnitude and how global my music is, a lot of my Italian fans were hitting me up like, "Why the fuck did you use, Mussolini in the beginning of the song?" And I was explaining to them like, "No, this is what the song is fighting against, like the energy of it." And so I wanted it to sound like it was riling up people to get riled up. But of course, I don't want to use, you know, the jackass because as an MC, as an artist, Trump is redundant. So I didn't want to put his fucking voice in the front of the song. So I think I think even though you don't understand the language, maybe it still kind of like builds that energy up at the top of the song that we were looking for to say, fuck this, man, it's time for all of us to fight against this type of ideology and these ideas. And so that's the purpose of the sample at the top. And then Cypress, that's like a dream come true. You know, I was telling Be Real, I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan, and you know, just at this point in my career, I can reach out to almost any artist and at least say, hey, this is who I am, and I would like you to do a verse or get on a song. But I'm very selective, and there are not many songs on the album that lend itself to features because it's a rock based, band based record, and who does that like in that field? Like I know hip hop artists be like, I got 80 features on my shit, and it sort of becomes a compilation. But I wanted this to be like us, 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 us. So I just felt they were so perfect for the tones again. Obviously, you know, Cypress is rocked out, and I love them because of that. And even though it samples, just like Simon says, it still comes across like you know, a lot of the fervor of what they do. And then in terms of colors, his voice just brings about a color, and then Zen Dog's voice just brings about a color. So I was seeing like at this point, who would be perfect in this spot on this radical ass song that's you know, against police brutality yet again, and injustice. And I thought those colors really matched right there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good way of putting it, that with colors. Because
Mm,
that brings me on to, we talked again in the past, and you were saying that how like you approach music like a director at times.
mm,
Um, and I was the imagery of that video is amazing, and the whole project generally, the imagery is amazing.
mm.
Just as an overall on that, on the aesthetic of it, what was kind of what fueled your creative drive to land on this?
Um, I've told you in the past, I think like a filmmaker. So I had all these images, you know, when you're hearing a song, I think a lot of MCs, you know, they see the song, they see the stage, they see the crowd, you know. Sometimes I was having a conversation with Jean Grey one time, and she was saying we both kind of work in reverse. Like you hear a beat and it takes you to a place to you're already like accepting a Grammy, and then you're working your way back through how to get to that point in your brain. Like so with a lot of the songs, I'm like, I'm seeing the end point, but I'm also seeing how to get there in this new world. And so visuals is one of the things. So number two, that's the second thing what took us a long time. Like I wanted to make sure we had a lot of visuals. We got mad visuals dropping for a bunch of shit on the album, like live shit, more actual like video shit. We even got one video animated. It's like the illest animated video that I'm so proud of this shit.
Wicked.
For like for one of the like really rocked out left songs on the album. But that's what it's about, man. It's about being like take chances and unapologetic with the shit. So I'm excited about this um this kid named See Through out of the UK. Like the people who did the logo work, uh any 40 people who did the animation work, See Through, all UK cats. Like, you know, so big up
Brilliant.
to England because again on an artistic level, I I I I searched high and low for people who fit this project, and we seem to connect there as well. So a lot of people shout out, you know, to everybody. Yeah,
Brilliant, man.
yeah.
That's great because there's already little Easter eggs like the masks and just little things you can really dig into. And digging into, like,
Mm,
obviously another one of the tracks, 666, 3 6-word stories. Um,
mm.
before before I dive in and ask you the questions, I know you sampled Hand of Doom on that. And
No, 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 no. That's
no?
the band. Yeah, that's the band, yeah.
Oh, wow. It
Yeah.
sounds like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, what took this project so long is not only did we replay shit, we with that song in particular, I went and researched what they use, what guitars, what bass,
Wow.
what board, you know what I mean?
Damn.
And we went in, and this was like 2.5, 3 years ago. We recorded out of the studio in Williamsburg, had all the vintage equipment, and the engineer was excited that we were doing it too, because and we researched, and we came back the next day, and we had a lot of the shit that they put their music through. We went to tape with the low frequency shit, and I just always liked the way that Black Sabbath shit kind of had this warmth on it. And yeah, so we played the shit over. Um Daru played live drums. Um and so even though we played it over, we sent it into them because it's an interpolation. And the biggest joy that I've got so far from this project is the writers and the people from their publishing was like, wait, we hear the sample, we were like, nah,
There is
bro,
this.
we played it over. There's no sample. I was like,
Wow.
I wrote a letter to them explaining why the lyrics are so fucking crazy and insane, and I would never like disrespect their craft. And so, yeah, man, they were like, yo, we love this shit. Come on, man, that's just fucking amazing. Yeah,
You've done it, man. That is a level. That's amazing.
yeah,
Because I was
yeah.
listening to this again. Listening to this album has got me down these rabbit holes. Master of Reality is an
Mm-hmm,
amazing album,
mm-hmm,
and just hearing what it did me as well. I genuinely thought it's props to all of you guys for absolutely nailing that.
mm-hmm,
Again, that sound that you're bringing on that, it also makes me think, what does it mean? 666, 3 6-word
mm-hmm.
stories. Could you break that down for us? What the meaning behind that?
So so also, and it's mad layers to the project. The songs are super dense. It's 13 songs. But they'll last you a while because each song in itself is kind of like a story and a film in itself. So, there'll probably be some people who could zip, but it's not the type of album like the way things begin and end. You'll find it difficult to be like, okay, let me sample this. Okay, fast forward. Okay, let me sample this. Okay, because they're starting off in a certain way where it's like, I want to see where this intro goes. Um, but that being said, the thought process was that um I wanted to write 1 6-word story, and then I was like, how about you write three of them, and that's the ill title, and that's kind of like the vibe of what we're trying to exercise as well as a lot of things that's happening in the outros of the songs feel like exorcisms. Like we're literally like, get off the bad energy, get off the bad energy on a lot of the outros and shit. So you kind of feel that with no videos at all. I think someone would be like, yo, they're literally trying to work the fucking energies and the spirits with this album and the things that they're doing. And that's one song where it's like where there's no chorus on 666. So where it rises back up to the ramped up part from the Black Sabbath record, it's really like "Rah!" So like, I wrote it in mind that we would be performing. I didn't know there would be a fucking lockdown all over the globe. So a lot of the songs was also written, which I want people to have in mind, of seeing us rock these records live, which is what we were banking on because Daru and Marcus is so good. I was like, oh, the fans are gonna love this shit when we get on stage.
It's made for that, man. Just the energy, everything. One of my first thoughts was this live would be amazing. Because
Mhm.
again, I'm guessing it definitely isn't a sample, but like Scarecrow, like that is an insane like earworm, and
Mhm.
it's so. I'm thinking of it now and it's making me rock. Like it's crazy. But
Mhm.
like one, that riff is amazing. But what is it about the Wizard of Oz thing in there? Like, there's a definite nod to Wizard of Oz, and
Mhm.
big up. I think you're speaking Spanish, spitting some Spanish on there as well. So fair play.
Mhm.
Just break that one down, Scarecrow, for me. Like what were you thinking when you were doing that one?
Um, when I wrote the concept to that record years ago to other to other to other joints and shit. Uh, I actually wrote it without any music. So in my mind, I was like, you know, I think I'm on that yellow brick road. I'm on that yellow brick. Hello, Rich. I'm on that yellow. I was like, this is just dope. I gotta find, I gotta get with the band and fix it, or get with a producer. Uh, forget dog's name, but I'll shout him out before I'll get it before this goes off, so I can shout him out. I got so much shit on my mind. Out of Canada, he's down with Marco Polo and amazing beats. Um, and so yeah, when we started working on that, I knew it was perfect. So I wanted to kind of like do a turn up joint, but rocked out. Because early on, what I was finding out when I was doing shows and just watching shows and watching the kids with the really, really hot turn up records, um, it kind of had that fervor of like hair shit. So, this fucking shit right here is the same thing as this right here, tempo wise, if you don't double time it. So I was kind of like, oh shit, like people want to get this energy off. Like people still want to get stadium energy off. And that's what those records made me feel like. Like I fucked with a lot of the Chief Keef shit,
Hmm.
and the uh just a lot of joints that gave off that energy early on when turn up shit started popping, and a lot of the Migos shit when it started popping. Like I was like, that's disguised and it's mixed like a pop record, but I know what this energy is. So when I got to this project, I was like, I really want to grime, like rock out a version of that shit with heavy, heavy guitar riffs and a heavy riff. And I just that beat is like the perfect fucking beat for that song. Like, um, I was in the studio with Talib and Common, and they was like, play it. This was like a year and a half ago. And they was like, play something off the project, and I played that shit, and they were like, Qual was like, I'm stuck right now. Like this shit's crazy. Yeah,
Wow. It's
yeah.
that's interesting because I know you seem to have a quite a collaborative mindset. We had Thought on the pod, and he went very excited yourself and those other guys as well in this collaborate. Like just the way you
Hmm.
guys seem to work. Was there any advice you got going into this project like that really helped from anyone in your peers or in your support network?
Yeah, and that's why Lee Stone is an exec. It's not just the sonics, but it's the advice and it's the attitude and anything that goes into really getting an artist to be in the right mind frame, or the encouragement to be as unapologetic as I am on this project, and to really be like, fuck it. Because it doesn't really sound like what's happening right now. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
in the sense of that record, when you hear it, you know how to move to it. But it doesn't sound like what everybody else is doing with that tempo, in my opinion.
yeah.
So you gotta have a strong backing system. And then my whole team, was like, and even my peers, like, I told Paz from De La what I was doing, yo, I'm doing this with a band and it's gonna be, and he was like, about time, like you've been headed that way for so long. Like, go ahead, we're waiting. Like, so all of those kind of like little things that he probably won't even remember is beautiful to me and really, put the battery in my back.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Beautiful to see as well. Um, I mean, I can't wait to hear the full project when it lands in January. When's it dropping again?
The 22nd.
22nd of January. Brilliant. Um, and I mean, quite a few things have happened, and it made me think of just yourself and what kind of artist you are as well. And actually, it reminds me, I was watching, I just finished watching a film, the 40-year-old version. I'm not sure if you've watched that.
Hmm.
Oh, have you watched that film?
Hmm.
Right,
Hmm.
and so I don't know if anyone's watched this, it's on Netflix, brilliant film. It's about
Hmm.
appreciating art and especially black art, especially if you're not black, and, what all those things, what it means to be an artist, but the whole idea of selling out is very integral to that story, and
Right.
we've had this interview booked in, and every time I think of yourself, I think of stuff you've told me before, which is like you're a boutique store, and when someone comes into the store, you are like, you know, appreciative of that.
Right.
I just had to ask you, man, has there been times in your career where you faced that, where you faced someone offering you a chance to what some would call sell out, other people would call, getting your bag, getting what you need to get? Has there been positions you've been put in like that in the past?
Oh man,
Oh, no,
so
really?
many times. Yeah. So, um, you know, I would, from my standpoint, my perspective, I would think that that would be apparent, but it's not. So I'll say, yeah, there have been plenty of times, plenty of offers, plenty of different things where I've had to be like, do you want to sell this, or do you want to sign with this, or do you want to be under this moniker, and what does that mean long term? More importantly, what does that mean happiness wise? So, like,
Yeah.
I attribute the decision making to coming up in hip hop in an era where it was important to be original, important to add something to the culture, um, important to know your lane as well. And in the end, if you kind of stay authentic, things come about where those people or corporations or whatever comes around and they're like, I really need something very authentic for this thing that I'm doing. Who should I reach out to? And this it usually winds up being like a handful of people. So I wanted to stay the course because it would, my emotions were fragile back then too, and it would have really pained me to be shelved or to be boxed in creatively in a way that I didn't want to be. So it was kind of like easy choices. Yeah.
I see, man. And it's brilliant. I mean, it's very easy for someone like me to say because I'm listening to it. I'm not living your life, man, so I don't know what decisions
Mhm.
you're having to make. But
Mhm.
all I can say is I'm internally thankful that you've stayed the course because even again, we're speaking first week of Jan. There's been a lot going on, and when I think of yourself, and I think of someone who's for me is a goat, top five. Let's think about, can we appreciate these people when they're here, and especially people who stay the course and have a morality to their stuff, which I respect. And on that tip, having someone like MF Doom pass away just a week ago, it made me start listening to Desire. I've been listening to Push. It's really helped. And it's made me think, man, I'm so glad that we have Pharoahe Monch. Like, I'm so glad you're here to talk to us. And with someone like Doom, I would just want to see where you were at, if you want to speak on it or not. And yeah, just see where you're at, really, man, after hearing the news.
Yeah, I'm crushed, man. It's very heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking, and to get the news when we got the news and to find out the information about the news. I mean, he died on my birthday. Like Halloween is my birthday. So that just took me to a place, and I had to think about that. And I was stuck there. and then it was New Year's Eve, and then I was stuck there. And then, I'm just such a big fan. Not a fan in the sense of the Doom fans who like have all of the pieces and vinyl, but a fan in that he found his voice in an iconic way off a second stage of a career, breaking through the barriers of the timeline that corporations give artists, Black artists, in terms that they should have a career. And the point that permeated this artistry that permeated was with me was the freedom of it. And so when you see someone being free artistically, it just gives you so much hope. You could be going through whatever you're going through. And like you said, if you listen to a song like Push or Desire or one of these songs or a Doom song, he may be doing his Doom stuff, but it's the flyness and the freeness of him unapologetically being Doom is what really resonates with the average, with anybody who's a fan in any walk of life, saying to themselves, I'm gonna go nail this skate trick today. I'm gonna go nail this bike trick today. And it hurts to lose people like that. I know the music lasts forever, but it's always uh, a heartbreaking thing because so many of us don't achieve that level of zoning in and finding your voice that way. To me, Sean Price was another one, in a different way, who, even though the bars were hardcore, there was a level of comedy in there that let you know he reached a freedom with himself. And so, it's just hard because we need those people. I'm glad that the music is there, like you said about my stuff, and it's the reckoning and something I had to look at in terms of mortality in general, and be thankful that I've been given this platform to produce music. It's why I chose this career, because from Organized Confusion day one, because we were digging through records to find samples, it told me that James Brown, Ohio Players, whoever we were sampling from, this stuff was 70, 71, 72, and I was like, it's still resonating with me. And these songs will last forever. If you get into this game, think long term. Don't think about making a record for the summer, because the shit is going to exist after you're not here anymore. So I've always thought about my career that way as well.
Yeah. Yeah, man, makes sense. Have you ever had was it any, like, creative work done with Doom, or any even passing stuff happen with Doom in the past with yourself? I mean, that would have been crazy.
Yeah, no, we fortunately, that's another thing that hit me. I was like, oh, I was like, we didn't work together. And that's kind of where I'm at right now as an artist. And so many artists deal with that in terms of so much more I would readily want to do. And then I'm kind of like stuck in the pandemic shit, right? I'm in the basement right now, can't move like I want to move per se. I love interacting with people, but we've interacted on numerous occasions. But this one time in Paris, we were both sitting at a table, me and him, and he was at the pinnacle of his success. And he was like, I just stopped giving a fuck about shit. Shit comes to my head, boom, 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 and I spit it. And the formula, boom, boom, boom. And we kind of had like a technical conversation like that and shit. So crazy.
But I would have paid to just hear that convo between you two. Did he have his mask on? Was Daniel Dubele there, or was it Doom?
Nah, he was just chilling.
Chilling. Oh
He was
man,
just chilling,
wicked.
yeah.
That's wicked, man. I've just realised, and I know this is odd, but I've got my Pharaoh print there, and right behind me here, I've got my Doom print, and it's like this is all coming
Yeah,
together right now.
yeah, that shit's ill.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, well, if we're talking of Doom, one of my favourite lines is about Paul C wearing Stetson hats, and
Mhm.
I need to ask you, did Paul C wear Stetson hats?
Not that I remember.
Right.
Not that I
I
remember.
remember Doom saying that, and I was like, "Really?"
Yeah.
But I mean, Paul C's another one where I mean, I've done my small amount for his work, relatively small amount.
Mhm.
God, yeah, I mean, Paul C for you must have been like quite instrumental right back in the day, right?
Yeah, and now that you mention him, now that this is like a therapy session,
Sorry, man.
uh, when Paul C passed, it's kind of a similar feeling. And now that I'm thinking about the Doom passing, it probably took me, bits to in that space for different reasons. But like Paul was just a kind of pure soul and really dope, obviously at making beats. But the the premise of why he wanted to do music was pretty fucking pure, and that always struck me as admirable and inspirational. Like like love this shit. Uh, so you know, losing him again was just like another moment. Was like I don't understand. I don't understand why.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fascinating then to hear because I think there's an amount of purity in a lot of the artists I love. I look at their work and that's why you try to go to the live gigs. That's why you try to buy the merch and you buy the vinyl because you want to support that man. It's not it's it's
Mm,
there's a purity to it. But Farah, again with this what I've heard, the small bits I've heard of this new project, I'm so looking forward for it to dropping because I feel like it's gonna be that. And I feel like I need to shake off that energy, like you said. Um before you shoot off though, man, I thought, look, we've had you on before. We've talked about like there's so much we could dive into. But I thought, I just wanted to play a little game with you if you're up for it.
mm. Yeah, yeah, let's do it.
A little bit of word association, right?
Hmm.
So I'm gonna just reel off a few tracks of yourself or organized confusion. And if you can think of just the first words that come to your mind when you hear some of these all-time classics, right? If you're down, I'm just
Hmm.
gonna list a few of these. Right. So first
Hmm.
up, we've got Fudge Pudge.
Um, not to harp on it, but me and OC and Prince Paul wrote the majority of that song in my like bedroom where I had like a studio set up and SP set up, and it was very free. If you listen to that record, it's no chorus. We're kind of like no arrangement. I don't know what the bar. We performed it last year before COVID, and it was like we're redoing it. Matter of fact, Lord Finesse redid the song for us because we didn't have an instrumental of the original song. He like redid the whole record with the piano and all that shit. What
Whoa.
is this? Lord Finesse. Shout out Lord Finesse. So we're performing the song and it's like Prince is like 22, I'm like 21 and a half, it's that type of shit. And we're just old school vibe out in the park on a beat kind of thing. And just the freedom of I remember I had a post of Snoopy in the corner, and it was from a MetLife ad, which was the genesis of OC being like rappers get met because man, it pays. It's like a life insurance thing, and it's just like that kind of freedom, that fun that's on the song is what I loved about that record.
That's brilliant.
Was I supposed to give a spiel or just say one word?
You were supposed to be it's supposed to be one word, but I'm actually here just
I'm
to do
sorry. I'm
just
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry. I'm
no,
sorry. I'm
no.
sorry.
I think the fans and everyone listeners really just want the whole thing. So but I'll reel them off. And if you have any tangents, please
All
do
right.
go on them. Um hell. Hell is what I wanted to hear.
Hell. Um. Just again, man. Just bars and vibe and rock. Yeah.
Yeah, like that, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Rapid eye movement.
Bars.
It is though. It is. It is. That's exactly my go-to with that one. Uh, Stress.
Snow.
What? Because of the video.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. That is great. Oh man, the light.
um, I would go to Freedom again. Like I got that beat from Diamond D, and before I wrote anything, I started singing the chorus. And, you know, it's like just start singing the chorus. So just
Wow,
the freedom to be like, fuck it, let's go. That's what it's gonna be.
that
Yeah.
must be so amazing to feel that. That's brilliant. Okay, just a few more here. What have we got here? Let me see. Oh man, Bad MF, Bad Motherfucker. I love that track.
What an amazing record, produced by Lee Stone. Um, we knew we had a record with that, and which is why I went so visual heavy with this project because we didn't have a lot of visuals for PTSD. And we didn't have a lot of visuals for the Stress album if you go want to go back that far. But with Bad MF, we were touring that album and we were murdering crowds with that song. And they didn't even know the song yet, you know. I could tell some people had the new album and some people hadn't had it, but everybody was kind of like, what the fuck is this? And you know, again, another song that was written to perform live, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And the last one, because it is we're in the middle of a pandemic with a virus, hypnotical gases.
Sure.
That is a track, man. That is a track.
I'm gonna say soothsayer. Soothsayer is the one word I'll use for that song.
Love it.
Soothsayer.
Oh man, so good. Pharaoh, man, I could play this with you all day, but I know we can't be doing that. But man,
appreciate
thank you so much, Pharaoh, man. Really appreciate this.
appreciate.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the drop. Looking for all the videos as well. Yes, please. So before you go, man, just have to ask you what we always ask. What's the last great piece of music you heard, Pharaoh, man? Could be old, could be new. Just the last thing you heard where you were like, "That is amazing."
Um, it's a bunch of stuff. I was watching the Lee Morgan documentary the other day, and Wayne Shorter was in a lot of that documentary, and it made me it 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 made me very nostalgic because my brother is the one who turned me on to a lot. My oldest brother, who passed away 2 years ago, is the one who turned me on to a lot of the rock shit that influenced me, a lot of the jazz shit, fusion shit, Weather Report being one of them. And Wayne Shorter was in the band at the time with Jaco Pastorius. All that shit kind of shaped me. So I'm watching Wayne Shorter as an old man now, you know, in the Lee Morgan, and they just was playing, you know, it was a lot of live shit, and I was just like incredible. So a lot of the music in that documentary is the last thing I listened to, which is really dope. And you know,
I gotta dive in.
yeah,
I gotta dive in. Wicked, man. Well, thank you very much, man. Stay safe. Look forward to the music, and big up, man. Just keep doing it. Keep smashing it,
yeah.
Pharaoh, man. We're here
Thank
for
you.
it.
Appreciate you so much, man. I appreciate these interviews. They're some of the best. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Until the next
Yeah.
time, man. Until the next time. Good luck with the launch.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
bro.
right.
Peace. Well, well, well. Pharoahe Monch, 13, new music. We got some metal in there. We talked about Black Sabbath. I talked to Pharoahe Monch about Black Sabbath. Amazing. So yeah, man, go check that project out. It is dope. I've had a little sneak peek, and man, yeah, there's some earworms on there, and Pharaoh's doing Pharaoh, and there are bars. But yeah, man, go check that out. It's available everywhere. And big up Pharaoh again for coming on. That's our hat trick, man. We've had the legend on 3 times. Go check out crate808.com to check out the other episodes. He did one in the middle of 2020 when it was all very crazy. I mean, it's still very crazy. And yeah, man, he smashed it. And the first time we had him on, man, it was just, yeah, superb. What a legend. So yeah, just leaves with a bit of housework for you guys. Get involved in the Crate 808 mailbag. Basically, we'd like to hit us up either on the socials, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or hit us up on email, crate808@gmail.com. Get into the mailbag, get involved. We've had some great correspondence. We want to know about your weirdest dreams about rappers, right? We want to know, have you ever met a rapper? If you've met a rapper, where's the weirdest place you met a rapper? And who? And what was the conversation like? And other things we want to hear is, we had like the worst merch you've ever bought. I want to know also, what's the best merch you've ever bought, just because I like merch. So yeah, there you go. Yes, go check us out. And just leave me to say, man, rest in peace, by the way, to my big bro Mons. Unfortunately, tragically died through COVID. But man, I just had to say, big up. This boy was just basically backing me every day. He would like basically holler Crate 808 every time I was in a room, which made me feel a little bit weird, but also like, fucking hell, what a legend. And also, just want to say, man, this boy is a joker, because we were doing some Hindu prayer ceremonies for him to see him off. And during these, clearly, I'm not that religious a person, but clearly my big bro has decided to take it upon himself to interject Biggie's One More Chance. Right, so we're all doing these Hindu prayers, and you know it's very solemn, and we know we're seeing him off, and then bang, I just hear Playboy Bunnies, those wanting money. That was it, and then it went back to the prayer, and clearly there'd been a glitch, but why was it? It played his favorite song, One More Chance. So that's like the weirdest thing that's happened to me in such a long time. So R.I.P. Mons, man, my big bro. And actually, for the mailbag, what is the weirdest things that have happened to you involving hip hop like that? So yeah, anyway, man, big yourselves up. Thank you for tuning in. Keep it locked. We've got more coming. And yeah, big up Pharoahe Monch. Boom. Peace. Catch you on the flip side.